So hi, welcome to our class this week. Thanks for coming. And I'll just recite the Heart Sutra to start here, and then we can talk. So, homage to perfection, wisdom, love us the mother. Thus I've heard at one time the Blessed One was dwelling in Rajgir, Mass Vulture's Mountain, together the great assembly of monks and the great assembly of bodhisattvas. That time the Blessed One was absorbed in the concentration of countless aspects of phenomena called profound illumination. That time also Superior Bodhisattva, the Bodhisattva, the great beings, looking perfectly at the practice of profound perfection wisdom, looking perfectly at the emptiness of inherent existence and also the five aggregates. Then through power Buddha Venerable Shariputra said to Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva, the great being, how should a son of the lineage train who wishes to gain to the practice of profound perfection wisdom? Thus he spoke, and Superior Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva, the great being, replied to Venerable Shariputra as follows. Shariputra, whatever son or daughter of the lineage wishes to engage in the practice of profound perfection wisdom should look perfectly like this. Subsequent looking perfectly and correctly at the emptiness of inherent existence, also the five aggregates. Form is empty, emptiness is form, emptiness is none other than form is none other than emptiness. Likewise, feeling, discrimination, compositional factors, and consciousness are empty. Shariputra, this all phenomena are empty, merely empty, having no characteristics, are not produced and do not cease. They have no defilement, no separation from defilement. They have no decrease and no increase. Therefore, Shariputra, in emptiness, there is no form, no feeling, no discrimination, no compositional factors, and no consciousness. There is no eye, no ear, no nose, no tongue, no body, no mind, no form, no sound, no smell, no taste, no tactile object, no phenomenon. There is no I element and so forth, up to no mind element, also up to no element of mental consciousness. There is no ignorance and no exhaustion of ignorance, and so forth, up to no aging and death, no exhaustion of aging and death. Likewise, there is no suffering, origin, cessation, or path, no exalted wisdom, no attainment, also no non-attainment. Therefore, Shariputra, because there is no attainment, bodhisattvas rely on and abide perfection wisdom. Their minds have no obstructions and no fear. Passing under beyond perversity, they attain the final nirvana. Also, all Buddhas reside perfectly in the three times, having relied upon the perfection of wisdom, became manifest, complete Buddhas in the state of unsurpassed, perfect, complete enlightenment. Therefore, the mantra of perfection of wisdom, the mantra of great knowledge, the unsurpassed mantra, the equal and the unequaled mantra, the mantra that thoroughly pacifies all suffering, since it's not false, should be known as the truth. The mantra of perfection wisdom is proclaimed. Tayatam gata gata paragata parisam gati bodhisoha. Shariputra Bodhisattva, great being, should train the profound perfection of wisdom like this. Then the Blessed One arose in that concentration, said to Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva, the great being, that he's spoken well. Good lineage is like that, since it's like that just as you have revealed. In that way, the profound perfection of wisdom should be practiced, and the Tathagatas will also rejoice. When the Blessed One had said this, Venerable Shariputra, Superior Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva, the great being, and the entire circle of disciples, as well as worldly beings, gods, humans, demigods, and spirits, were delighted and highly praised what had been spoken by the Blessed One. So just from our hearts, just taking a moment here to take refuge. We just go in all sentient beings to achieve enlightenment, go for refuge to Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. We can really feel that we're taking refuge from our hearts here. We can feel that Prajnaparamita and Buddha Shakyamuni here are with us. And setting our intention as a bodhicitta intention through the virtues we collect by giving and other perfections, may we become a Buddha for the benefit of all. So whatever we do here today is our little discussion. May all of this be karmically put towards the enlightenment of all beings, in particular that we get enlightened and become Buddha, that then we show everyone else how to become enlightened and become Buddha. Okay, there we go. Thank you. So just say for YouTube land, I just finished a retreat, so it's probably bad view, but I've got just like full of acne. I always get pimples when I do retreat, so I feel like I'm like 12 years old again or whatever. So I don't look the best anyway on a good day, but if you like now, it's just like, wow, that guy's complexion is really, really bad. Every time I do retreat, that happens. And anyway, there's also all sorts of funny things that happen when you do too many mantras. Anyway, so how's everybody doing? So everybody's doing well, and I just thought today, as always, we can sort of finish up just a course on the Heart Sutra, so we can just do a question and answer and discussion. I know sometimes it's hard. I feel that like if I'm just doing a lot of courses and we like recordings and we don't kind of have live classes, I just wonder, as a question and answer, people feel a little alienated because you're just watching videos. If we were doing everything live all the time, maybe, I'm not too sure, it might be a little bit better for discussion wise, maybe not. Last little bit's been hard because I've been flying so much, I've been away so much, I've just had to do a lot more recordings and be at home in Nelson. So hopefully that changes in the new year a little bit. But with that, any questions, any comments? Your own insights, what do you think? even just sharing your own experience of just experience of the Heart Sutra, what you feel, what you like about it or feel about it or so forth.
I had a question actually, Matthew.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I wasn't sure whether I heard correctly, but something that you said on the
Mm-hmm.
around the what was very recent. You said uh, something about the path of seeing and the realization of emptiness, and then you mentioned bodhicitta and achieving bodhicitta, and I wasn't sure how the realization of emptiness and the achieving of bodhicitta are related exactly. As
That's
I'm asking the question, I sort of suddenly think, well, of course, I mean, they're related, but anyways, maybe you could
No,
just say
that's
a
a
few
very good
words about
question. Maureen, that's an excellent question. And as always, please point if I'm unclear, or even better, like if there's mistakes. Obviously, I'm not some realized guru or whatever. Um, Ask questions, be critical, whatever, which is good. And I did a master's in Western philosophy, and when you do these seminars in grad school, almost out of principle, whatever you put out, everyone jumps on it, tries to make you look like an idiot. So I have no problem with people, criticizing or bringing sort of shortcomings up or something. But no, that's a very good question. So does the
it.
path?
It wasn't that I was thinking that you were not
No,
being
not at all.
clear.
But I just think it's good. I
It,
love
it
questions.
was just that it went by fast and I'm not clear. And I guess the question I wrote underneath this actually says, have arhats achieved bodhicitta?
Well, this is
So
it. It's great. So technically, again, from my own understanding, obviously, and again, there might be different lineages here, or like you put this out here, and people might come, "Hey, actually, that's not true." But technically, a realization of emptiness itself doesn't produce bodhicitta, even though we talk about two bodhicittas, a conventional and ultimate one, right? Sort of aspiring bodhicitta of great compassion, wanting to realize enlightenment for the benefit of all, and then ultimate bodhicitta, we talk about being sort of a realization of emptiness. So when those go together, it's the unity of method and wisdom, or a skill of compassion, always being available, being of service, helping everybody, relieving everyone's suffering, and seeing the ultimate nature of reality through wisdom, realizing emptiness. But you can see that there's almost like two paths here. There's sort of what we sort of like to call more of a Hinayana, or a small view path, where we're just trying to escape samsara, go to nirvana for our own spiritual fulfillment, so to speak. And then the Mahayana sort of great view, or big vehicle, big view on things, is we're doing that for the welfare of all beings. We're doing that all sentient beings have that same experience. So it's a question of intention, the intention you have when you're meditating on emptiness. That's the thing. So the path of seeing, there's a path of seeing for Hinayana people and a path of seeing for Mahayana people, right? Now, what's interesting is, usually you get this sort of thing where, Mahayana traditions or whatever, there's kind of like a rhetoric. It's just like, Hinayana people kind of don't cut it. What they're doing isn't so spiritually fulfilled or whatever. And of course, that's not true. The emptiness you see on the path of seeing is the same emptiness. It's the same experience, right? The difference is the intention, like what you're shooting towards. So, and this is what's interesting from what I've been told by teachers and studying LamRim and stuff. These kinds of divisions between a Hinayana and Mahayana path are more rhetorical divisions, because let's say you're just kind of like a Hinayana person, whatever that means, and you're just trying to see emptiness. You're doing the 5 paths, just trying to see emptiness to liberate yourself. It's sort of like your own personal spiritual journey. You're trying to escape the suffering of samsara. You're trying to, fulfill all your happiness desires in a spiritual way. And so with that intention, just as a solitary spiritual journey, you realize emptiness. Then you on the path of habituation, you solidify or embody that experience. You go in and out, and then of course you become liberated and become an arhat. It's not like our hats. Once you're in our hats, somehow you're this selfish person or whatever, or this individualist or something. Because you see, even in those kinds of paths, like if you look at the Theravada tradition, they have so many meditations on compassion, so many meditations on metta, so many meditations where they're doing service for other people. So even if you're just an arhat, nevertheless, it's almost like a mini bodhicitta of being an example for everyone else to do the same thing. Like you're in the community showing it's like, hey, wow, that person did it. They're enlightened now. They're reached nirvana. Could you please show me how to do this? Absolutely, I'll show you how to do this. So it's kind of, I'm just saying, like, it's not sort of this cartoon thing where, oh, Mahayana people are going to be Buddha, we're serving everyone, the Hinayana people, well, there's kind of like failed high school or something. Like they haven't kind of cut it yet by being this open-hearted, spiritual figure for the community. Clearly, that's not the case. But it's just almost like the starting point is a little different in the sense that right from the beginning, when you're doing LamRim or Mahayana Pass, it's like I'm trying to see emptiness. The only reason I'm doing this really is for everybody, not just for me, for the whole world. And that's the intention I'm bringing into the experience of the path of seeing. So that's why so I'll talk a little bit more about Hinayana people in a sec, but the Mahayana, like if you have bodhicitta and have an experience of emptiness, like go from the path of seeing, and then into the path of habituation. What's interesting is you're gone from the third to the fourth path, but at the same time, the moment you go through the third path, you enter the first bodhisattva bhumi. So that's what they call bodhisattva grounds. So it's interesting. It's like you're moving. I'm using Husserl's phenomenology of internal time consciousness diagram in my head here, but you're moving along the 5 paths here. So your little bodhisattva, path of accumulation, doing tons of, merit and purification and doing my practice. Then, wow, I get to the second path of preparation. I'm meditating emptiness through a generic image, just through words and concepts in my mind of it, like dependent arising or whatever I'm meditating on. And then kapow, as I'm going along, I hit the third path of seeing. So at this point, when I come out of that as a little budding bodhisattva or bodhisattva in school, right? It's like I'm graduating high school now and going into university or going into college or a work program or an apprentice program. All of a sudden, like I'm at this point an Arya bodhisattva. I'm a real bodhisattva at this point because I've seen emptiness. I'm no longer just kind of like a training bodhisattva. I don't want to call it like a poser bodhisattva. That's a little bit because you're not like a poser. But but what's interesting is the moment you hit the third path of seeing. At this point, you are deepening your practice. So it's almost like as you go forward, you're going down deeper. It's almost like a V that's expanding, like this. So those are the 10 bodhisattva grounds which you can study. There might even be in LamRim in the great scope. They might talk about that. It's also in Chandrakirti's works. I mean, there's many books on this where they talk about what are the 10 bodhisattva grounds. So the 10 bodhisattva grounds is as you come out of the path of seeking and go in the path of habituation, at that point, until you get enlightened and you're moving to the path of no more learning, you're deepening your experience by hitting one after the other these 10 bodhisattva grounds, right? Just by meditating them to do more and more practice. So what that is, it's actually really, really beautiful, is these 10 bodhisattva grounds are the 6 perfections we know about, and then 4 extra perfections. I'm sure more than you know about this, you've read about this. Yeah. So you're becoming a more and more powerful spiritual being, a more and more powerful bodhisattva as you go along the path of habituation. So they talk about that basically you can divide it into 9 the 9 steps, I guess you could say, or 9 divisions based on those 10 bodhisattva grounds. And the last one is the 10th ground, just before you flip over to being a Buddha. So they divided, like the first 3 are, like big obstacles, middle big obstacles, small big obstacles. Then middle obstacles, no, big middle obstacles, middle obstacles, small middle obstacles. Then the last one, big small obstacles, middle small, and then small. Like basically, it's just like all your delusions, which are the delusions. The big one at that point, it's the delusions of duality, right? So when you realize emptiness directly, the first thing that goes is all your obstacles, what they go to liberation, to nirvana. In other words, things look separate from you, things look dualistic to you, but you know they're not. Every time you go in other words, things look independent from you, they look real, but every time you go into your meditation emptiness, you know they're not. So you never get fooled by them. So that's why you're an arhat. You're a foe destroyer. You've conquered all your demons because you know you in the world and you and everyone else are one, but they look different. They look different. Everything's just words and concepts, but they look real. The dreams look real still. There's still a separation, but you know there's not. And every time you go into meditation, you see that there's not, right? So that path, those 10 bhumis, are personal Buddhist virtues that allow you to finally overcome duality by meditating emptiness again and again and again. So the first 6, as you know, are the 6 perfections. There's giving, patience, moral discipline, joyous effort, mental stabilization or shina or shamatha, and then finally wisdom or vipassana. So what's interesting is we're trying to do those 6 perfections right now, but we kind of suck at them. You know what I mean? But the moment you've seen emptiness, each of those perfections are a real perfection, right? So perfection of patience, you never ever get angry. So this is like you're like these Christian saints where someone punches you and you get up and you're like, please punch me again, like whatever. Or the bodhisattvas where they're like, boy, can I have your finger? Chop, here you go. You're at that level where you're like this magical saint, right? So the first one is the perfection of giving. That. So that one, I don't have the list right here, but each of those bodhisattva grounds have a different name, right? So the first one's very joyful. So at that point, when you come out of your experience of emptiness as a bodhisattva, the first booby automatically you're on is the first one, very joyful, which is the perfection of giving, which means at this point you have nonstop joy. And why do you have nonstop joy? Because you see the emptiness of karma. You see everything being manifested from you. And so and only goodness is manifested from you. So all you want to do is give to everybody because you see the instant feedback that you're creating a positive world instantly through giving. So all you want to do is be generous. So that's the one where you can give anything away. There's that great line where Atisha, it's in one of his talks where he talks about when you realize emptiness, what each of the 6 perfections is like. And I remember the first one he says, your life is a transcendent flow of giving, like a river of giving. All you do is give. Then you're patient. Then you have absolute perfect morality. Then you have like perfect, with bodhicitta, mental stabilization, right? One of them I think is called maybe it's radiant or stainless. Stainless I think is the 3rd bhumi where it's moral discipline. It might be the second one. You'd have to look that up. But I think it's called radiant because they say, you can see this in the commentary. I hope I'm not wrong by remembering this, but there's something like when you reach the perfection of patience, which means you never get angry. You never get angry. Like people are beating you up with hockey sticks and you're like, hey man, it's all good. Like it's like you're at that level because you've seen emptiness. It's like you see through the dream. You're having a dream of monsters eating you and you're like, hey, it's just a dream. Go ahead and eat me, right? Or whatever. And that's why you have these people, these great Buddhist saints, like you heard about them in Tibet or in China during the Cultural Revolution. They're being tortured. Just like these famous Christian saints in the Roman times where they're getting eaten by lions or murdered and stuff. They're just like, hey, I love everybody. And there's that Far Side cartoon where that guy's in hell. I don't know if you've seen it. And he's in this good mood and he's like mining or doing something. And he's whistling. And then you see these devils going, it's like, we can't get through to that guy. right? Like, it's just like, that's when you're at that level of like total bodhisattva bhumi material, right, with bodhicitta. But the one where you're never angry, they say, is called radiant, because everything is golden light to you at this point. Like, literally everything is exuding like a golden light, and I think that that's just the force of your non-anger, of patience. So that's really, really beautiful. So those I go, and then the last four, you'd have to see how they go. There's, oh my goodness, there's perfection of skill. See, I can't remember now. One of the, okay, perfection of skill, perfection of prayer, cloud of dharma, and there's one more. Do you guys remember what the out of the 10 bhumis there's in terms of perfections? It'll come to me. So one of them is the perfection of skill, for instance, which you could help anybody anytime. You know exactly what they need. So that's the difference. Is nowadays we're just like being a normal person. Well, people, let's say someone's having a hard time or in drama or whatever, and oh, can you help me? You kind of like, oh, I guess this is my opinion. You don't know how to help the person, and maybe your own opinion. You know, you have all these agendas or delusions. It might make the person worse. Like, you might say, oh, go do this or get a divorce or quit that job, and then it's like the total bad move. It's a total bad mistake. Whereas the perfection of skill, you know exactly. You're completely clairvoyant what that person has to do. You know, that's why these great lamas are so helpful at that level. They know exactly what to tell you what to do. And then there's, you know, perfection of prayer, which means your prayers come true. When people say, can you pray for me? And it's like, no problem, I pray for you. And then it's like your cancer goes away or something. Like, it's amazing. The last one is, they say, cloud of dharma. And that's another deeper understanding of emptiness. It's like, at that point, you're just seeing the two truths being one at the same time as you go into enlightenment. Like, that's, so my teacher again, Kelsey Tarshan, said this, the small obstacle that's going away on that 10th bhumi, it's very sweet. He's like, this is the last mind of a sentient being. Like, this is you at the last minute. There's even a little bit of sentient being left in you, by on an energetic level. And then boop, the next step, you go in, you're a Buddha, and you're like an alien. You're not even a normal organic being at that point. You're like an angel, right? So that's the point when you hit full enlightenment. At that point, there's no duality. You see emptiness and all individual conventional things at the same time. So it's not just that you are in the dream, you see it as a dream, you're part of the dream, you see all other dreams simultaneously with everyone in them, and you love all of them, and all you're doing is helping them. So that's the bodies, that's the Mahayana ground. Now the Hinayana ground, what's interesting is the moment you see emptiness directly at the path of seeing, one thing that you're seeing is the cessation body of a Buddha. So the Buddha's Dharmakaya mind, Jnana Dharmakaya and Svabhavakaya, or the emptiness of the Buddha's mind, that the emptiness a Buddha is meditating on, and the emptiness of their own mind, that's a part of a Buddha. That's the fourth body of a Buddha, what they call the nature or emptiness or an entity body of a Buddha. Technically, you're in contact with that by meditating on emptiness. So that's what's so interesting, is when the moment you're meditating emptiness, you and the Buddhas are one. So at that point, and Buddhas have bodhicitta, so they're trying to teach you and make you a Buddha. So even if you're an arhat, you're in direct visionary contact with all the Mahayana paths with the Buddhas. So technically, we always say, oh, arhats are just in nirvana, it's kind of like chilling out, or like whatever, tanning by the pool or something. But really, they're already on a bodhisattva path the moment they hit emptiness, by definition. So for us, they might seem that they're just some kind of like art, but really, maybe they're already a bodhisattva at that point. They've chosen a little bit of a different starting point, but we all end up at the same point when we hit emptiness. Is that okay, or what do you?
That's great. That's really helpful and also inspiring. Thank you so much.
Okay, no worries. So that's it. So technically, yes, an experience of emptiness won't give you instant bodhicitta, but we see kind of maybe it
You're a
will.
lot,
I don't know. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot more there.
you're a lot closer, and you have another. You're calmed down so that you could go there if you're ready and want to, sort of thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. Great. Thank you so
Yeah, like
much.
our dear friend and teacher Bob Capitani, their Lama Bob, he always said that, like, basically, this is the work until you reach emptiness. Once you've hit emptiness to get to enlightenment, it's like that's the work, right? Like, we're doing the hard part now. This is all the work. This is like,
Thank the Lord.
yeah, no, but this is the real hard part, and you're reincarnating and dying and suffering, and you can't concentrate, and you're so angry all the time. Like we're all sort of messed up trying to get to emptiness. But on the other side of that, because it's like you end up seeing through the magic trick. It's like, oh my God, everything's just a dream. I can work with this, right? So things accelerate, and at that point, from what they always say, and from what like one of my teachers said, the moment you see emptiness, it's like you're in a direct visionary contact with Buddha. So it's just all these downloads come automatically. Not just that you see the Four Noble Truths or Arya Truths directly, but the Buddhas are at this point, it's like you've plugged into the internet, right? We're trying to get on the internet, and it's like we don't know the password. I keep putting the password in wrong, or it's like, oh, Telus is down again. Ugh. So it's like you're on the phone, the dead phone, and oh my God, now it's off against the weak internet. I'm trying to download this. Things are turning, the little thing on your computer, and the moment you get on the internet, zoom, everything's there. It's like everything's downloading. Oh my God, I'm updating. My energy body's updating because the Buddhas are just pouring in, and that they have infinite patience, but at the same time they're probably thinking, oh, finally that guy got it, he's on the internet. Like, no, we've been manifesting at his mom, his grandmother, his angry boss, and his dog, and he never listens, and he's never getting all this stuff, and it's like, now he's plugged in, we could just say, hey, here it is, this is the whole path, like it's like right. So yeah. Trisha.
Great. Thank you so much.
Just kind of following along that thought line, Matthew. So do I understand correctly? Because I often think of it as a personal failing, that when I think of a bodhicitta meditation, when I bodhicitta intention and motivation, when I sit down to meditate, and certainly the desire to reach enlightenment for the benefit of all sentient beings, or to reach enlightenment and to help all other sentient beings reach enlightenment, right? And I think, well, number one, I don't know what it's going to be like to be enlightened, right? I mean, I want this. I want the end of samsara. I want the end of this dualistic mind. I can really understand that and see that as a goal, right on, and everything else that comes with that. But I'm not enlightened. I don't know, right? I studied best I can, and I think of then the concept of leading all other sentient beings to enlightenment. Well, that is so abstract to me, I mean, and in this life, absolutely, I do believe in helping other people. I do help other people, but it's an abstract construct. And I still include that in my prayers and motivation and intention, but knowing I don't quite get that now. I think like you grow into it, I guess is what I'm saying. Is it?
Sure. Like it's fake it till you make it. Yeah. No, that's very, very honest. I think it's very, very true, right? There's a couple things, we can say about this. Like we don't know what enlightenment's going to be as much, and this is what they always say, and that's why, like our teacher Venerable Land McNeil, great sort of Buddhist nun in Vancouver years ago, always said, "You don't jump off the cliff; you fall off it." With emptiness, and then you see that it's not like emptiness is something magically produced, like again, like you're downloading or creating something. It's like press the button, bing, you get the experience. It kind of dawns on you, where it's revealed, and that's why in some ways, even though you're creating all the karma for it, like I always say when we talk about a gradual path or a discovery instantaneous path model, it's kind of a false distinction in a lot of ways, because the point is when it does dawn on you, it comes as an aha moment, right? It's not something that's like, okay, emptiness now, like it's, you know what I mean, like you're producing. So we don't know what any of this stuff's going to be like. We're just sort of training ourselves to do it. And our self-cherishing is so strong on so many deep levels, for not just this life, for many, many past lives. That's who you are. That's how you're habituated. That's your form of embodiment. So much of our love and compassion is kind of fake, kind of fabricated. That's why it takes so long to do these kinds of things. But part of the meditation that helps so much on the bodhicitta meditations is to try and get you working in a very organic, grounded way about caring and serving others, right? So like whether it's the sevenfold cause and effect or equalizing, exchanging, and self with others, you have to see that all the little ways of caring for others go a long way, and we start with that. And how we're able to start with that, both of them show that who you are, everything you have and who you are is because of other people's kindness. So it's repaying that kindness. I think that really helps, I think. Like one of my favorite philosophers, Emmanuel Levinas, one of the great philosopher saints of the 20th century, who just wrote a very, very famous Jewish philosopher on ethics. He always shows that anytime you're being egotistical or me, or look at me, look at me, watch me, look at me, it's everyone else has helped you in that moment express yourself. So it's not about you. Like it's very Jewish, as you know. It's like, oh my God, now I'm guilty or whatever. But it's just like everything you have is because of other people, literally. And he has all these really good arguments. Like one of the basic things, other people have taught you to talk, to express yourself. You didn't teach yourself how to talk. Other people have given you concepts. Other people have given you culture. Like the basic building blocks to make you who you are is because of other people. And now if you expand it out from that to the natural world, other beings have given their body for your whatever, Korean fried chicken. Other beings have given like flowers, and everyone's giving your veggies if you're a vegan. The sun's giving you light. Like everything is because of factors outside of yourself. Yet we've all got this kind of cartoon libertarianism, even though I am kind of a little bit of a left-wing libertarian, but that's another story. But in a sense that, oh, me, this is my project, my self project, this is me doing this is me doing that, I have to do this for myself. All of that's contingent on others. And so giving back it as a bodhisattva is even just in a very basic human way, we have to serve others or help others, right? So what I like about Levinas is he always says that it's not easy to do that. Like he always says, like in his second famous book, L'autrement que sens, like otherwise than being, he talks about being taken hostage by other people, like being on the hook to help others. So he always says it's like you feel that you're pulled out of yourself, out of your skin, and stuck back in upside down, in the sense that you're always busy doing things for yourself, and then someone asks for help. So he always says in that moment, it's always like, oh, do I have to give to this homeless person? Or I'm just heading out, oh, my neighbor's toilet doesn't work and she's old and needs me to come over, but I have to get the shopping done because I'm going out for dinner with friends tonight. I've got 45 minutes. Oh, it's like, okay, or not. Or it's like, what, I can't make it. But he always talks about how hard it is to help others because of our selfishness. But at the same time, there's this ethical responsibility where you have to do it. And what he shows is why, because everything you have that makes you you is because other people have given it to you, even at that moment, right? It's very, very beautiful. I really like that. So that's the big push-pull between yourself cherishing and cherishing others. So you have to start. So I remember my teacher, like David Gonzalez, always said, don't underestimate your grasping mind, your selfish mind. Like, it's so powerful, our selfishness. It's really hard to do this. That's why, like in Chinese Buddhism, Mahayana Buddhism, they're so honest, where like Tantra, oh, I'm going to get enlightened in this lifetime. They're always like, dude, this is taking many lifetimes for you to get over. Like, who do you think you are getting enlightened in 3 years? Like, this is so hard to get over your self-cherishing. It really, really is. So bit by bit, exactly like you're doing, Patricia. Is that answer a little bit, or what? Or do you want to?
I love the context. I've heard of that before, and thank you for reminding me of that overall context of, you know, we are where we are who we are because of what's been provided to us by others, right? And I'm fully on board with the concept of giving back. Absolutely, I do my my limited best,
Hmm.
you know, here. Yeah, and it helps me just, it puts me more at ease about, yeah, I mean, this is where I am now. I'm not an enlightened being now, you know. So no, I can't save all other sentient beings, you know. And I can relax that. I'll learn along the way.
And remember, there's no rush. Like, there's a great line. We had this little book on Guru Rinpoche where I can't remember the one line. I was like, "You have all the time in the world, but every moment counts." Like, that's a great line. There's no rush. Everyone's going to get enlightened. It just depends how long. If you sit on the stove and turn it on and you're frying your ass, how long do you want to sit there? That's the only issue. How long do you want to stay in samsara putting up with all of this? And then how long do you want to stay here seeing that everyone else is usually having it worse than you, right? But technically, there's no judgment. It's not like if you fail at this, if you feel this, it just means you stay longer in jail. It's like, oh, I blew my parole, I'm back in for another 6 months. But the point is, you're getting out. So you can, like I say, this isn't kind of the Semitic concept like, Judaism, Christianity, or Islam, where, there's a God judging you at the end of the day. Did you blow it or not? I mean, it's not like that. We're all getting enlightened at our own pace, and all the Buddhists are just doing 24/7 are there helping us. They're the lifeguards. They're swimming around the pool. Oh my God! And they're just like throwing it. Oh, try and take this. And the shepherd's hook. You're like, I don't need that shepherd's hook. And you're drowning in whatever, But they're there, inspiring you, helping in each moment you enlighten yourself. That's what's so interesting, is that technically you're enlightening yourself, right? This is why it's so hard. You're literally lifting yourself up by your bootstraps, as the old expression goes. But they're all there helping you to each moment. So sometimes all you can do is pray. And that always sounds like the classic Buddhist quietism, like, I'm helping in a soup kitchen and we're doing all this amazing political work. And you're at home just doing mantras. What kind of idiot are you? It must be nice that that's all. But sometimes that's all you can do. Like, if you're like sick or old or have problems or something, it's just like, I can't run around the world saving everybody. It's like, but I can be in this moment in the world a place of light. I can be the one person here this moment, not being angry, not being checked out, and not being like hung up on stuff. I can be the one person that's just sending out love to everybody. That's so powerful, right? When you think about it, that's all you can do sometimes. Like my friend Chuck always said, like having a klesha attack. Sometimes you're just having like a really bad diluted day, right? It's just like, you're just like super upset or angry or whatever. It's like, sometimes all you can do is some mantras, right? So
Thank you, Matthew.
yeah, no worries. So anything else? We don't have to go for the full hour. Like, if we're winding it down, that's fine. So anything else? I mean, to be honest, is anybody we've been talking sort of about general Enlightenment, Mahayana Buddhism and stuff, which is good because Heart Sutra is about that. But any question on the Heart Sutra, even just thoughts on the Heart Sutra? I mean, the more I study it, the more I like it.
I have a question.
It's amazing. Yeah, Chloe?
I don't know if I'm on or not. I don't know how to function with you. What I'd like to know is get back to basics with emptiness, and you said the word again just a minute ago, emptiness of karma. I mean, it's so difficult for me to associate emptiness and karma, which seems to be precise and tangible and absolute and real. And So I suppose intellectually you can't really explain it. It's a matter of meditation and some kind of enlightened understanding. Because, yeah, could you talk a little bit more
That's
about
actually, that's a really
emptiness and karma?
That's a really hard question, and you're such an intelligent person, Claude. I know you're always thinking deep on this stuff. This is a hard one. Like you say, number one, to see karma directly, you have to be a Buddha, plain and simple. So that's, emptiness is a what quote hidden object, which is why you need a form realm mind of tranquil abiding concentration to see it, because it's everywhere around you, but it's invisible, right? So it's just like, your eyelashes or something. I mean, it's just kind of like the eye seeing itself. You can't see your own access into the world, right? That's how it works. So emptiness is one of these things like that. So it's like you have to go out of this world of appearances to see it, because it's a place where there's no appearances. So anyway, that's what makes emptiness difficult. But they always say seeing emptiness is way easier than seeing karma. Only a Buddha can see karma, because technically only a Buddha can see the two truths directly. They see emptiness and karma at the same time. So only Buddhas know what karma is, which is good, because it keeps, technically, once you know that, it should keep you humble by making you shut your trap and not judge other people's karma. Like there's always like, well, we always know why Matthew lost his job is he did that retreat poorly. You got mad at Rinpoche. So well, it's karma. You have no idea what people's karma is. You have no idea what your karma is. You had countless lifetimes.
Not other people.
Yeah, but you know what? It's just funny how you get this in Buddhist communities where everyone's got an opinion on people's karma, and it's like you have no idea. Like I always say, not only do you have no idea what your own karma is and other people's karma, it's logically possible. Logically possible. You are the last sentient being left. Everyone's enlightened except for you, and everyone's manifesting as sentient beings to help you complete your path. That's logically possible. You're the loser, the last loser who didn't get it. Everyone, has finished school. You're the one who's failed grade 1, I don't know how many times, and everyone's just waiting on you. Like literally. So no, that's possible. So technically, this is why you should never judge other people. You have no idea who people are, right? But when we talk about the emptiness of karma, at least from the Gelugpa way of looking at this topic, and different schools have different opinions on it, different traditions do, what happens is once we see the emptiness of karma, it's interesting, once we go from emptiness back into conventional reality, coming on the path of seeing, what you see is that karma is real. Now, it's not really real, like it doesn't inherently exist. It doesn't exist outside of relationships. What you see is that everything is relationships. What you see is at that point that karma is the only deciding factor in everything, right? So at that point, you're like, wow, number one now is kind of like a stream mentor. I'm never going to do anything bad for the rest of my life because I know how the thing works. It's like I realize how a gun works. If I pull a trigger and I put it against my head, I shoot myself. It's just, at this point, you'll never do anything bad again, but also all you'll do is good things, right? And if that's the case, it's a feedback loop of positive energy that never stops. So Geshe Michael was saying, like, at that point, like when you've seen emptiness and you're one of these bodhisattvas, it's a perpetual motion machine, or like a nuclear reactor that never runs out of fuel, because all you do is good actions and get a good result. So you're creating purity 24/7, right? That's what's amazing about it. And that's why bodhisattvas or Buddhas, like, they never have any impure appearances or suffering, because they're only doing good things. And because they're seeing emptiness, it's instantly ripening in their own mind because they're seeing how it works. It's pretty amazing that way. But so there's two things: seeing all the individual details of karma. You have to wait till you're enlightened to do that, obviously. But it's interesting is that right now we don't believe in karma, which is like we don't even see it, which is why we're always doing negative things in suffering, right? But also we don't see, like we have such a diluted mind. We are always seeing things as inherently existing or quote unquote real from their own side, unrelated. So we don't even understand how cause and effect works from a real deep point of view, right?
But
Like,
that's it.
we can see cause effect. Okay, I turn on the stove, the water boils, whatever, or I crack an egg and the yolk comes out, or whatever, or the thermometer is like on very, coarse understandings of causality with physical things, we see it, but we don't apply it to ourselves, into our own behavior, right? So this is how deluded we are. So the moment once we see emptiness, it's like we connect the dots, we close the circle with karma, we see everything is just cause and effect, everything is just relationships, and at that point we can start to re-engineer things. We sort of take control of that process for the first time, right? Because right now we don't understand how karma works, because we have an inherent existing self set against the world dualistically. So it's all magic how things work. I don't understand why this doesn't work. I'm trying so hard in life and I'm unhappy. Like we don't know how that we have to create causes, plant seeds, put things out there. And how do you put things out there? You have to put things out there always from a quote unquote public point of view rather than a personal point of view. In other words, we have to manifest things selflessly for everybody rather than just selfishly for myself, right? So the world, as Geshe Michael says, is coming from you, not at you. And once you see karma, you see that it happens. I mean, the big thing for karma, once you see emptiness, is that you're part of karma. Right now, you don't see that. You always see yourself as being separate. Like the actor in the movie is still kind of separate from me, Like I am the movie. What's interesting is that even my ego is karmically created, which we never believe that. You don't believe that you're fictional, right? You don't. Somehow you think that you endure, like you think that this, it's kind of interesting, isn't it? Like Urgyen Tokpa Rinpoche, that famous was Kagyu Nyingma, is Barum Kagyu, and he's like one of my favorite writers and teachers. He always said, it's very beautiful. He said something, I messed up the quote here, but kind of like, consciousness has no nature, it has no definition, it is no thing. Isn't it amazing that this no thing can experience things?
Yeah.
Isn't that amazing? In other words, isn't it amazing you can have all these experiences without a self? But check yourself right now. You don't really believe that. You believe that the experiences you're having are precisely because you do have a self, right? That's not karmically created. But this is, anyway, Chloe, this is a really, really deep conversation. It's amazing. We could just do a whole course just on this one particular question you asked. It's very, very deep. It's very, very difficult, very difficult. But again, what happens, like it used to be, Kenneth Rexroth called this kind of like a fake beat Zen, where he said the 1950s, he's a famous beat poet. I love Kenneth Rexroth. And he was a good Buddhist. He practiced Shingon Buddhism most of his life, Japanese Tantric Buddhism. But he always said the kind of fake 1950s Buddhism, the kind of cartoon Buddhism, is that because there's emptiness, there's no karma, right? Because everything's void, there is no karma, which kind of means
exactly.
You can do what you want, man. It's kind of like, don't get hung up on everything. And there was, if you read it, it's a very sad book. I haven't read it, just commentaries on it. Brian Victoria's famous book, Zen at War, where you had certain Zen teachers in the 1930s and 40s in the Japanese government that were using Buddhism to justify Japanese militarism. Just like religion always used to justify war. And they said, we have to teach soldiers that because there's emptiness, there's no self. And if there's no self, there is no actor. And if there's no actor, there's no action. So at anything that you do, be selfless. So if you're ordered to kill all these innocent people in the village, remember, first thing you do as I'm going in to do that with my guns and stuff is remember, everything is empty. There is no action taking place because there's no actor. So this isn't happening. So after I kill all these people and I go back to the barracks, that didn't happen. I didn't do that. None of this happened. Now we know that's wrong. You look at that and you go, ha ha ha,
Yeah.
who would ever do such a thing? But that's actually, you read that book, that was many deluded kind of Buddhist teachers were teaching this kind of stuff. And I've kind of met people over the years that had a similar kind of version of this kind of Buddhism.
But it sort of does function intellectually. That's the problem. It does, in a way.
Well, yes and no.
It's
It's a bad
that's why
argument.
it's so frightening, because in fact it can be interpreted that way.
Well, you
If there's
could, but
nothing.
anyway, this is, but you can see that when we understand emptiness and see that all there is are relationships and causality, that makes karma even more definite. Rather than blowing it all away in the wind, you see that everything matters. And that's why Guru Rinpoche has that great quote where he says, my view is as vast as the sky. My attention to karma is as fine as flour. Like all the little things matter because all the little things are happening, creating the world, creating reality, right? So that's a great quote. My view is as vast as the sky. My attention to karma is as fine as flour. Yeah. But again, it's hard. Like, we're still deluded and make all these mistakes and have bad habits. But yeah, interesting. Thank you. That's a great question. I mean, we could just keep going on and on and on about that, Chloe. That's amazing. That's a good one. So it's at the end here. Anything else, comments or something? Thank you so much. It's been an excellent discussion, like it always is. Everyone asks such awesome questions. This is just like super great. So, okay. Well, I'm gonna record one thing I forgot to do just tomorrow for maybe a little New Year's thing. Is maybe a little 5-minute video just on the meaning of the Prajnaparamita mantra. I forgot to do that. So that's in the Heart Sutra text, of course, that's given.
Geez.
Yeah, so I'll do that tomorrow or a day or so from now. Just a little short 10-minute video, just sort of go over the meaning of that. I've got a couple of good commentaries on that. That's really, really beautiful. But I thought we could at least chant that together 3 times here. So, Om Gate Gate Para Gate Para Samgate Bodhi Soha. Om Gate Gate Para Gate Para Samgate Bodhi Soha. Om Gate Gate Para Samgate Bodhi. So that's that. Everything is empty. So let's dedicate this. May a little special, it's ending the old year here, beginning the new year. May our practice of emptiness cross the years, and we go into 2024 studying the Heart Sutra over and over again and meditating emptiness for the benefit of all sentient beings. May that be our dedication today. Okay, thank you so much for coming and asking great questions and stuff, and we'll do the next class soon. And also, just to say, I will be designing the next course. I'm going to be doing retreat, but during retreat, working a little on it. Next course, I've got about 2 more courses left, and then I'm just going to see what everybody wants to do after that. But it's 2 sort of deeper courses, again, on emptiness. Oh my God, I'm sick of emptiness. I'm just joking. But the next one's going to be on the 2 truths. It's a good book, A Debate of the 2 Truths. So it'll be what they call the difference between a view of emptiness called emptiness of self, Jone, the Rantong view of emptiness. This is a Tibetan sort of distinction. And then what's usually been in sort of the more Jonang tradition, which is called the Shentong, or emptiness of other view of emptiness. So what you'll see in Tibetan Buddhism is, I know it's a little vulgar to say, but the question is the glass half empty or half full when we talk about the glass. So it's kind of an interesting debate, and it's a good debate, different
Yeah.
schools, different views on it. So I'm just going to, in my very imperfect way, give a little course on that. I'll do some recordings this coming month and have some live classes quick as I can. Okay, so thank you very much. I'll just press stop here. See you next